this is everybody that's coming out today, and they're showing their support. They're a little concerned about the immigration status, and we're going to see if some people want to talk about it and tell their story. Would you like to tell your side? This is stolen land. Why don't you tell us about that? Would you like to tell us about that?
I don't like the fact that people that were here generations before Europeans came here are being taken off their land. This is their land for generations before the racist people came over and tried to whitewash the land. And I don't think that's right. When I joined as a veteran, it was to fight. I'm only on one side of my family. We were here before the Europeans came over, and we had to go into the mountains and whitewash ourselves to come out to be considered human beings. And then on the other side, I'm only third generation migrant. So why would I not be here?
Who were the first migrants to own this land?
Nobody, the land is not to be owned. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, maybe it's above what your normal thought process is, but I believe the land is not to be owned. It is to be utilized by everybody. These are tribes of people that have been coming for thousands of years, back and forth, to eat and feed their families and all that kind of stuff back before it was all, like, before we got, it was, how do we put it, before modern technology and all that. These are, their families literally migrated back and forth with the seasons to eat. And we're trying to deport them from their own land.
So who was there a first tribe on the states of our land here?
There were people here when it was colonized. And those people shouldn't, their ancestors shouldn't be removed from the land, is how I feel.
Right. Were those the Indians that were here or somebody before them?
Are you talking about Native Americans? These people are all Native Americans here.
Yeah, so who were the Native Americans in
right here? They're sitting right here. The Native American ancestors are sitting right here in front of you, protesting their families being removed from this land.
So the Mexicans were here when the Indians were here.
They are Native. They weren't here when they are them. Wrap your head around it.
I'm just trying to clear it so that everybody can watch. But I really appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Like, thank you so much.
They were literally here. And some of them went other places, some of them got put on reservations. And now they have to fight to stay in the land that their ancestors were here for.
Okay.
And then laws came about, and then we were forced to move and leave and go other places and hide out.
Why do you think
considered humans?
Why do you think they did that and they started making laws?
I don't know why Europeans came over here and started being racist and invented white people. I don't know why that happened. I've read encyclopedias and all that. I have no idea why they did that.
So you said you served in the military? Yes, I did. Well, thank you for coming home. What branch were you?
I was in the Air Force.
You were in the Air Force? What did you do in the Air Force? What did you do in the Air Force?
I built bombs.
Oh, so you worked in the Department of Defense.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your service. Thank you. Welcome home. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Oh, yeah. Okay, let me put you on. All right. Tell us what's going on here today.
Today, all the Hispanic people, I believe, they just, want to speak up about the rights that we love this country, but for us it's very sad, they just got people that work very hard, deportated just because some papers. And this purpose is for us to demonstrate that we love this country, and we are very hardworking people, and we don't do nothing bad to nobody.
You say you love this country?
Yes.
I like how you're holding the American flag right there.
Yeah,
very good.
My family is from here. I got my kids. So it's very sad when people just assume, or how to say, things be not licensed is a criminal thing. I'm agree to respect the laws and everything, but come on, if you go and get all the workers, it's because
what do you love about America?
Everything. about everything. About I love that you're free. You have a speech, and everything else, everything else. I love everything, and it's very sad. This is happening. You know, they wanna, but you know, you have a girl over there.
They didn't want to talk.
They don't
But I like that you're sharing this with us because everybody can hear your side of the story. Now, do you want to defend America? Do you want to keep America to what it is? What do you want to change about America?
I would like to change a lot of things, but first of all, not to point Mexicans as a criminals because we know all the same.
Mhm.
What I want to point.
Right.
We know the same. We are very hardworking people. I'm very angry with people that come to this country and do what they don't have to do. Robbery, killing, all that stuff is not right. It's not right. But go employ Mexican workers.
So one of our biggest issues is the borders. How do you feel America should approach the borders? What's the remedy to legalize closed borders if the good people are allowed to cross without following the immigration laws and the bad people cross not following the immigration? So how do you balance that?
It's very bad, and I always say it's better to because you know because other people they come over here and do and kill people over here and do bad things we pay. So for me it's
Right. And when people come over to cross the border, are they coming here to assimilate to be American, or are they coming here to maintain their to not assimilate? Because a lot of people have been here for years and years and years, and some folks feel that they haven't assimilated yet. What's your comment on that?
stimulated what?
Assimilation. Well, when you come to America and you say you love America, you want to fight for America, a lot of times they don't assimilate, which means they don't learn the American language. They don't become American.
You know, I would say me when I came here, the first thing I did is learn the language, you know. But not everybody can learn easy. Now, other people just came to work and then go back to their own country. But now, people that stay here, all they do, even if they don't speak the language, they contribute to work, to pay taxes, to build houses, to buy houses. They contribute very much the economy of the United States.
Right. Yeah.
Even a lot of people don't speak English. They contribute to the economy. Very, very, very. I mean, I would say, I wish we can all come like normal, you know.
You wish everybody could. Right.
Because they say, you know, United States is part of Mexico too. So, in my part, I would say, I wish for Mexicans or Latinos, they say come free, you know. I don't think they're not coming
So that was Laura, guys. I really appreciate that she stopped and gave us some time. I hope you got to hear it. All right, what's your name? Hi, Jayla. Tell us what today is about and what you hope to see.
Today is about supporting all the immigrants that are getting deported, that we work just as hard as everyone else here. We need to just spread peace and love everyone as Jesus loved us all.
And what do you think should be, what's your view on the borders and how they should be handling the borders?
I definitely understand like wanting to close the borders for safety, but y'all are deporting people that are not all criminals. Everyone who came here for a better life. We all wanted to be just treated equally, and we understand like closing the borders and having just the rules, but it's not fair. And if they wanted to close the borders, they should have made it easier for us to become
should they be looking at them case by case to see if they can make them citizens of the United States and teach them about our Constitution and assimilate them?
The process is so hard and it's super expensive, and people who come here for a better life, they're obviously coming because they're coming from a dangerous place and they don't have the money. So if everyone in America just comes and we are having us open arms, like open-handed and allowing everyone to come, then it should be easier for all of us.
How do you feel about the borders being open and the young women that died in the hands of some of these people that were just criminals that actually did cross the border?
I definitely support and understand the borders for the criminals, but not all of us are criminals, and not the people. Some of the people that are getting killed are not because of the criminals, or they're just other people that.
Let's go this way. I want the sun on you. Yeah. So, as we've had a large number of people, I know you've seen it on TV, the people crossing the borders, and it's kind of like your house, right? You don't know who's coming over. And then when we hear about young, beautiful women like yourself getting your life ending, you know, it's heartbreaking. So it makes a lot of Americans feel unsafe. So what is the resolution to that? Because so many people that did cross that border are in a mixture of dangerous and just families trying to come over.
Close the borders and make it easier for us to become citizens, and make it just the process easier and less expensive, and have everyone more educated and every side, not just
That's a very good point you made, because a lot of people that say they're trying to come over the legal way, the process is very difficult and expensive. So I have heard that. So that's a very good point that you made. I want to thank you so much for sharing your views. It's really important for everybody to know what's going on and why you're here, and the ideas that you share that could improve the system. Thank you so much. Would you like to share that on video? What's your name?
My name is Lucena Maldonado. I go by Goofy, or everybody says to pronounce it. But what happened on Thursday, everybody was, saying how the sheriff's office was working with basically profiling people, stopping landscaping, trailers, construction, nobody separated. We've come here to work. My parents immigrated here 40 years ago. My father died in the fields, sprained, broke his lungs, got all of those chemicals, and he died from that. My mom was naive. She didn't accept any money. She thought I could do it all myself. No food stamps, no Medicare, no nothing. Thank God, after a year, Donald Reagan did the amnesty. That's why I am here. That's what I want all of my people to feel. The freedom. I want them to feel nothing. This is their home. Most of these people have mortgages. I just spoke to a gentleman who has a business here. What is he going to do if all of the migrants are out? He has no people to work for him. Nobody is going to do the drywalling on our beautiful homes. Who's going to do the landscape over in Windsor and Jones Island?
Okay, so it gets a little difficult to hear her. And she was talking about who are all those people that are going to do the drywalling? Who are all those people that are going to do the landscaping? Well, we do actually have a lot of people that do drywalling that are not Mexican, and they're getting paid. Um, the When I worked in construction many moons ago, I worked alongside drywallers. I was an electrician's apprentice. So I was learning how to be an electrician. And when we were working on the Dolphin Hotel, this is how far back it is, the drywallers would come in and they worked on how many drywalls they put up in a day. That's how they got paid. It was kind of like a commission type job. So your drywallers worked for commission. So if they're paying um, the Mexicans $15 an hour to lay drywall, they're really not paying them adequately, because a drywaller, when they work on commission, they can do a really good job, get it done really fast, cut out the holes for um, the for all the lighting. So not only do they put the drywall up, but they have to cut out the square boxes, the boxes that you put in for electricity for your outlets. So um, that's how I knew drywall. So I don't know if that's changed or not. And landscapers, they pay them hourly, but if you can pay a uh, non-American, an illegal immigrant, uh, less than you can pay an American, well, it's taking American jobs away. They don't see it that way, and I know they don't. Now, she said her parents came over with the amnesty. I at first thought that she was also an amnesty child, but I think the way when I think this video, it sounds more like she was born here and her parents came over in amnesty. The thing is here is that we're not targeting Mexicans. Indian River County just happens to have a large number of Mexicans here. What I want to do though is bring you up because the what happened what she's talking about is the previous day or day before that when they had the sheriff's department doing his roundup. So I want to bring that roundup. It was posted on Facebook, and I think it's this one. Okay. So this is the one that I want you to see. And this is US immigration and also customs enforcement. And if you look to the right, you can see what the post was. And I'll read it for you so that you can listen to it. Today, the Indian River County Sheriff's Office, in partnering with US Immigration and Customs, enforced ICE and Border Patrol successfully conducted a point operation as part conducted a joint operation as part of Operation Sound Guarding, focusing on identifying criminal illegals, aliens. Now, they were focusing on criminal illegal aliens. The sheriff's office has been part of Operation Strong Garden since 2016, and today's efforts resulted in 8 adults being arrested on state charges and at least 24 being detained and taken into custody by ICE for further investigation. One of the criminal detainees in ICE custody has been deported 4 times. Yes, he was deported 4 times. Another had previous charges of sex offenses. That's right. The second one they're talking about had previous charges of sex offenses. One was out of jail on bond, and yet another had charges for the criminal use of personal identification information. That means identity fraud. Sheriff Eric Flowers said, "We remain committed to safeguarding our community, and today's operation is a testament of our strong partnership with federal law enforcement agencies. Our goal remains clear: to keep Indian River County safe by identifying and detaining those engaged in criminal activity or operations only target our operations only target those that are engaged in criminal activity." So, with that being said, I have to remind everyone that if you crossed the border illegally, the key word there is illegally. You committed an illegal act when you cross the board illegally. Now, you're not viewed as a criminal like one of these guys that have committed a horrible act, either a sexual act or something else other, like they mentioned here in the Facebook page that explained what happened in that Stone Garden, was it Stone Garden operation that they did. But they're informing you of the detainees. You are a criminal if you're speeding down the road and you're driving without a license. You've done an illegal act. So they're not saying Mexicans are bad people, but you must have accountability for your actions. Did you cross the borders legally or illegally? What does the word illegal mean? This is not because you're Mexican. This is not because you came from Mexico. The truth of the matter is the border is right there. Florida has a lot of migrants working here on visas. Also, we have a lot of illegal migrants that come here because the migrants that work here with visas also have family that will come over as well. But it is a large number of Mexicans. You can find them in Florida. So it's not targeting the Mexican community. If you have a higher percentage of those people, the likelihood that when you do pull somebody over or you do find a criminal um, that has come over illegally from Mexico and you have him in your system and you track him down, the likelihood that he's going to have other um, uh, migrants with him, illegal immigrants with him, is high. So they get caught too as well, as they should. If they came over illegally, it is illegal. That is the most important thing that you must understand. Illegal immigration. It's not a race thing. It's not a color thing. It's not racial at all. So I would suggest that if you came over illegally, you should go back if you don't want to be arrested. It's the law. And I'm going to let you listen to this young lady again because, like I said, at first I thought she was part of amnesty. I think it was just her parents, and I think she was born here. That's what I'm thinking because she says she voted. But I want you to hear what she specifically says in voting. And I know it's going to be hard because there's a lot of noise out there, and I did not have a mic. I do apologize for that. We'll change that in the future. So let me bring her on up. It's going to take me just a minute to get her screen up. And we'll finish hearing what she says because I ask her. Let me bring her up. So here she is. Let's listen carefully because I know it's really hard to hear.
They were caught without a driver's license. They were passengers in those landscaping businesses. The criminals take them. We don't want.
So she says they were caught without licenses. They were landscapers. They were caught with the criminals. So let the criminals go. But she's not realizing in that same sentence that if you crossed illegally, you created an illegal act.
We don't want none of that. Whether you're a citizen or an illegal, we don't want criminals. But the immigrants. In the same sentence, she says, whether you're a criminal or illegal, we don't want none of that. But then she goes on to say the immigrants. Remember, the immigrants that are not illegal are not the target. Immigrants that are legal immigrants are not the target. The ones that are working ones, the ones that have been here for 30, 40 years. What she's saying here, the ones that have been here for 20, 30, 40 years, they've been here, they've been working. Now, what we have to understand, have they been here for 20, 30, 40 years working and did they cross the illegally? Did they overstay their visas? Did they, in those 20, 30, 40 years, did they try to apply for citizenship? That's a long time to be in a country and not apply for citizenship. If you have a visa, you can always renew your visa, and during that time, apply for citizenship. There is a process that is available
to people that want to migrate to the United States.
Where these news go?
It goes on Facebook.
Goes on Facebook?
Yes.
Okay. They don't have anywhere to go.
I'm social media.
Yes. You social media?
Yeah.
From where?
I'm Binford Chronicles. Social media, it goes on Rumble, it goes on YouTube, it goes on X. We're the public newscasters, not NBC, ABC, CBS.
They know you said that you're a racist.
I'm Puerto Rican. So this slays me. Now, I haven't tried to disparage anybody here. I've tried to let them tell their story, as you can see. But for some reason, somebody called me racist. Why does race come into everything? This is not a race issue. This is a border issue. This is a safety issue to Americans. This is the United States of America, where we have a social compact in our constitutional form of government, which is made for all of us, the Americans. You are not a citizen of the United States. Therefore, you're not understanding how our laws work. We have three branches of government, and those branches all play a very important role on how business works and how our government runs in America. And if we keep bringing in people here that don't take part in understanding that, we're not going to have a republic for very long, because they're going to become citizens, they're going to vote, and they're not going to know how to save this republic from tyranny or from socialism. We will end up like the country they're leaving. So I'm going to play a little bit more and you'll see why I'm saying this. And hopefully you can hear it. You know? Mm-hmm. Now, she's a total sweetheart. I get her. She's like, we are all human. We need to open our hearts to people. But this is not a hearts issue. When you make policy, policy needs to be a policy that works for everybody. Whether you're a hateful person, you're a loving person, you're a handicapped person, it needs to be a policy that you follow for everybody. So that's why we have closed borders. We're not going to just say, go ahead and break the law. You're a nice person. It's okay. I know you didn't mean to break that law. You were desperate. That's not what policies and laws are made for. Laws are made to keep it safe for everybody, to keep it fair for everybody. And yeah, we saw a lot of lawfare, but we're back on track now. We've got a president that's going to protect our borders. And this is what should have been done from day one. From day one in the Biden administration. He went and did an executive order that took away all of the good things that protected the United States. So she has a beautiful heart. I'm not angry with her. I'm not going to disparage her for the lack of knowledge that she has. I want to help her understand. So what do we need to do? Because you say they've been here for 30 years and they haven't been citizens. So what's the solution to that? So you see, like, I'm trying to be open-minded and say, okay, so what's the solution? They've been here for 30 years and they haven't been citizens. So that means they've been here for 30 years living in the United States. But one of the most important things that a United States citizen can contribute to the United States, to this republic, is understanding our form of government and participating in who we put in office to manage our government. Because when they manage it wrongly, as we saw during the Biden regime, it affects us. And it affected us horribly. So this is very important for any person that wants to come and be a United States citizen. This is important for every United States citizen to understand. It is your duty to play a role in your country's politics. Because if you owned a company and you were the CEO and owner and you said, okay, I'm going to hire a board to manage my business, are you just going to put your business in the board's hands and walk away from it? Just think about that. Our nation, we're hiring the CEOs to work for us. And if we don't engage in that part of government, then we're not going to keep this republic. It's not going to last long. Because right now we have Trump in it trying to get it back in gear, but there's also people in office that I'm still suspicious of. And the next president, we don't have oligarchs that get into office and stay there for decades and centuries and decades. And I mean, for 80, 90 years till they die, like the Queen of England. We don't have that. We have a rotating form of government where the president rotates. Do we have senators and House representatives that rotate? Really, no. And we should, because we're seeing a lot of them aging out now and seeing what happens. So there's a lot of issues with our government, but we need participating citizens that love this country so much that they're going to participate in it and put those checks and balances in. Because if you're just not going to participate, you're kissing our republic goodbye, slowly and surely. So let's let her finish.
Citizenship went up 43%. These people are getting paid $15 an hour to work in the fields.
So how do
How
we
are they going to afford it? They live in trailer homes that are falling apart without insurances because they can't afford to become legal. Some of them.
what is that process like? Have you investigated it to see what the
I don't even know if I'm a
Okay. So this is why it confused me. Was she born here or not? Because she said, I became legal with the amnesty. And she's saying that the process for people to become citizens is hard, it's expensive. So that's why people are doing this. But when I asked her, did you research it? She did not. She's ready to protest, but she's not ready to research and do the work, to argue the work. That's where the change comes. It comes from people similar to her, and I would say like her, if she had done that research, so that when I asked her that question, she had an answer. It shows me that she's got more into this fight than the racism thing that they're doing here. They're not being targeted. Anyone who crossed that board illegally is a target for the illegal act, not for the race. Florida just has a large number of Mexicans that come to Florida and Hispanic, from Latin backgrounds that come here. Why? We have Miami. That's what I'm assuming. We have Miami. You go down to Miami, it's like it's Spanish America. I mean, people actually talk to you in Spanish and expect you to know English. If you've been to Miami, you know what I'm talking about. So let's finish this so you can see, because this is the organizer. So I want you to get a good look. And remember, she is a sweetheart. She has a good heart. This is not to disparage her in any way, but this is to talk about what's going on.
All I remember is we had a whole bunch of people going to and from Miami. So some of these people are just the legal way. I don't know if
She just said, I don't know anybody that came in the legal way. She literally said that. I don't know anybody that came in the legal way. That's pretty frightening. So now I also understand why this is so normal for her, because she thinks, well, because everybody I know that came in illegally, and I know them and they're nice people and they've been here for 30 years working under the table. They're not, if they're not legal citizens and they don't have a visa, because your visa runs out and you have to redo your visa, you're not really paying taxes. You can own a home and pay those taxes. You can own a business and pay those taxes, I guess. I've never come over illegally. I don't know any illegal people that cross the border. So I don't know all the things that they do. But that struck me as well. She says, I don't know anybody that has come over the legal way. I can't hear what she's saying right now either.
But
that's why they wanted closed borders to do that, to make entry safe, visible, transparent. And I responded like that because, well, they need to identify everybody. They need to make a way so they can identify everybody. And I'm like, well, yeah, we have points of entry. I didn't say it exactly that way, but we do. We have points of entry, and that's what we do. Well, because it's my understanding that when you cross the borders, you have a relationship with the other countries that tell you who the criminals are. And then countries that don't have that relationship, we would not let them in because we can't see who the criminals are. So she agrees with that, but at the same time says, but something needs to be done. Well, the borders need to be closed.
I don't know anything about immigration. I knew that I have empathy for all of these people.
Yes, we all do.
You know, because they are here. Look at them, united. This is the United States. This administration tries to unite us all. Why?
So she's seeing us wanting to round up illegals, not immigrants. Legal immigrants are welcome here. She sees us as rounding up illegals as trying to divide. We're not trying to divide. They're trying to keep America safe. That is a huge difference from, and I don't know why she has this in her head. I'm thinking somebody's talking to her and giving her these talking points and telling her this is what's happening, because that's not what's happening. And the reason I say that is because on one end, she says, yeah, they need to have a system to identify who's good and who's bad. But when you tell her we have points of entry for that, and when I explain to her we have relationships with countries so that when people come from those countries, we have a relationship so that we can check that country and see if that person has a criminal background or not, which I stated clearly there. So there's a lack of understanding of our system. So how do you feel about the United States Constitution then?
Why are we changing the Constitution to only once, not necessarily needs, only to some.
So she's saying that she thinks the Constitution only supports certain people's wants, and that is wrong. That's not correct. So we see this is the important part, is understanding what is their comprehension of what our form of government is. What, I don't even know if she's ever read our Constitution. That I don't know. Well, the Constitution has a regulation of border crossing. So I guess if you wanted open borders, you would have to take that out of the Constitution, because the Constitution has border safety for the Americans that live in America. So you want to change that. So in response to that, she says, why are we scared of these people? We're not scared of these people. We want legal immigration. It's not about being scared of people. It's about making sure that when you let somebody into your country, you know who's coming in. What's scary is we don't know who has come in our nation right now. We don't know.
we've got all kinds of illegals that came in, and we've had beautiful young ladies, beautiful children lose their lives to the criminals that have crossed that border illegally. So if you crossed illegally, you've committed an illegal act.
That are here to work.
It's not. So you think we should just have open borders and let people cross? But that's what border patrol is. That's what the crossing through the border patrol is. They have the border, they have those, but people aren't using those. They're crossing illegally. So how do you manage that? So if you had a house, you are. Are you a voting? You hire the CEOs. You see, the representatives of our country are the CEOs that we hire. Oh, yeah.
This is scary. So I vote for president. That's all I vote for. So if you come from Colombia, do you have 3 forms of government? If you come from Cuba, do you have the 3 forms of government that we have here? If you come from Argentina, do you have 3 forms of government like we have here? If you come from Peru, do you have 3 forms of government like we have here? People that are coming over, they're not being taught our constitutional form of government, are missing a very important job that they own, and that is voting for your local, state, and government representatives. Not just the president. The president doesn't have full power of everything in our nation. He can use his executive powers, yes, but those don't become bills. The most important powers, for me anyway, probably for you too, are those representatives that create the bills, that regulate the laws, the bills that are set, that go to the Senate, from the House to the Senate, and then the Senate votes on it. The Senate gives it to the president. If he doesn't sign it in a certain amount of time, it goes back to the Senate and they can pass that law. If it goes to the president and he vetoes it, it goes back to the Senate and it goes back to the House. It gets listed in there as denied and they can bring that bill up again later. So there is a whole process that when people come to this country, that they need to realize that voting for the president is not good enough. We're not in your old country anymore where you have one person that dictates what happens. We have a whole republic form of government with 3 branches of government that we are all responsible for. Because if we are not voting properly, we're not going to keep this republic. I can't say it enough. We will lose this republic, and the country that she is running from or her parents ran from will turn into our country. I mean, our country will turn into their country. And we saw that pretty closely. I think the Biden administration really brought us to an understanding that we can go downhill. And we need to educate these people. We need to understand what they know and what they don't know, what they're interested in knowing and what they're not interested in knowing. Because we need America first. We need America first people.
Well, that's not that. That's so you don't vote for representatives.
That's what I'm telling you. If people want to change the Constitution, it's only their needs, not their wants, They're here to labor. They're here for a better life.
So
Nobody's here to commit no crime.
So do you feel a country should just let people in that want to work, not want to not? How do you maintain the integrity of a country, and how? It's not a political question. It's your land, right?
It's everybody's land that is here legally and is here and it wants to be
I'll tell you what, with this interview, she's a really sweet girl, really sweet lady. And I don't want to say anything bad, but look, you have to understand our social compact. You have to understand the republic form of government we have. This is why these people are coming here, because of the success of this republic form of government. And she's telling me, oh, that's politics. Politics, her protest, her organizing this protest is politics. She's thinking that we are making laws for personal gain. No, we're not. And I really feel that we need to close these borders, get these people educated on our republic form of government. And if we don't put our foot down hard on this, we're not going to have a republic for much longer, because our presidents last 4 years. And the next thing I'm going to say to you guys is this. Trump did some executive orders, but some of those executive orders need to be turned into bills, because the bills, when they're put in, become law. And some of those can become law. Am I a lawyer? No. Is there somebody out there that's good at looking that up? Yes. So please, please, somebody do it. Somebody look it up. I do not have a law background, but I know that if he made an executive order, some of those executive orders can be made law. And we should have some of the highest, most intelligent people looking into those to put those bills into place, to be national bills. So anyway, I just wanted to go over that with you. I did the Facebook page. It was a live feed, but I kind of wanted to break it down for you. And I think these people are just being fed this narrative on stolen land and all that stuff. They don't really know the history. She doesn't even know the history of the Constitution. She doesn't even express what's really going on here. She's thinking it's a personal thing. It's not a personal thing. So somebody has helped her do this, organize this. I'm convinced that she did not do this on her own, by herself, is what I mean. I think there is another left wing behind the scenes feeding this narrative, feeding the narrative of stolen land, feeding the narrative of racism. And that's what they do, is they see they see an easy target. They put their claws into them and start having these discussions. And she is a warm-hearted young lady. She's talking from her heart. If you asked her, are we a democracy or a republic? I don't think she would answer republic. Do we have democratic states or federalist states? Just to throw it out there. You know what I'm saying? Just to, whether it makes sense or not. She would not understand what it meant to be federalist states. Her education background on the history of this nation as a United States. I don't care about the whole ancestral thing. I love history. I'm not a history buff, but I could definitely sit and listen to a documentary and enjoy every bit of it, because our history is very interesting. But the truth of the matter is our nations have evolved. All the countries have evolved. We have evolved where there weren't that many people living in the United States at one point. There were no buildings, there were no mosquito nets, there was nothing. When the first settlers came here, they probably got a lot of diseases from the mosquitoes. Florida was mosquito heaven. But as people migrated, just like they say, oh, it was their land, they invented white people. People were trying to get away when they were trying to find freedom. They were trying to find a new way of life where they could bring their religion. They could be free to practice religion. that's a part of history that they need to learn that changed the narrative of we're natives to the United States. They are no longer natives to the United States because the country's divided. The country's split up. They became individual countries. You have the United States, you have Mexico, you have Africa, you have Guatemala, you have, Cancun, Mexico, you have the Panama Canal that also came as time grew, as time changed. All these little things happened. So we are the United States of America now. We have 50 states, possibly 51. And this is what we're living in today. We can't live in a past that my mom didn't even live in. It's like, hang it up. It's not going to work. It makes no sense to bring that up. You were born in Mexico. You are a native Mexican. I was born in America. I'm a native American. If I was born in Puerto Rico, where my mother was born, I would be a native Puerto Rican. Am I Puerto Rican? Yes. My mother and father are Puerto Rican. But am I a native? Do I go to Puerto Rico and say, this is my native land? No. My native land is America, where I was born. My mother's native land is Puerto Rico, where she was born. Fact. Okay, so that just doesn't make any sense to me. It's not worth the argument. It doesn't change what's happening today. You're never going to go back to having everybody, like that one lady said, nobody should own land. Okay, so what happens when everybody doesn't own their house? So you're sleeping in your house. If you don't own your house, you can't have a lock on your door, right? So are we all just going to be invading everybody's space? It makes no sense, those arguments. And they're not coming from bad people. They're just, it's just a ridiculous way of looking at things. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you guys. We just need to approach these people in a loving, caring manner and try to get them to understand what it is they're not understanding. It's not about race. And they are not natives to America if they were not born here. They are natives to the land they were born in. What your heritage and what your ancestry is has nothing to do with who you are today. Maybe your skin color, maybe your features, but where you came from and your parents and all that stuff, it's my ancestors. I don't even know what they did. I don't even know what they looked like. I'm sure my features come from there, but that's about it. I'm a Native American. That's who I am. With that being said, thank you for joining me on Binford Chronicles, and I will see you on the next episode. So hit the subscribe button so that you can know when I go up. I do not have a special date set. I kind of pick and choose and gather information and then throw it out there. So if you want to know when it comes on board, subscribe and you'll get the latest feed. Good night.